Good evening, guys. This side Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. First of all, I'm extremely pleased to share that on a short video app known as Josh, we crossed 1030 videos, which means only on one short video app we crossed 1030 videos. Probably by December we would be in a position to cross 1500 short videos 1 minute each on an app called Chingari, and more such things on the way. As we speak, Treasury Consulting Group is a multinational headquartered group. We are based out India, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Unlike the companies Ola, Uber, Swiggy, Zomato, Lenskart, Paytm, we are 100% profitable. More importantly, company do not have a single dollar investment from any private equity or venture capitalist firm. And we are a cash rich company. In fact, the top 10 mutual funds of India, we are client to them. We invest our money with the mutual funds. We do banking with the top banks of the globe, and everything because we have $0 backing from any private equity or a venture capitalist firm. On the contrary, our hedge fund desk is completely proprietary in nature, which means we do not take third party capital into consideration. So, as we speak, if we're taking a position of $1, $100, $1,000, maybe $10,000, 100% is owned by Treasury Consulting, which means no funding from third party. We do not take any third party money into consideration. Very simple. More importantly, we have our paid news desk, our training programs, our learnings desk, our Sheetal Academy, our FNO training, and many more. If you wish to have any information, you can WhatsApp on my personal number, which is +91 9818485155. Alternatively, you can WhatsApp on my back office, which is +91 9818485155. Effective 2014, I am covering the counterparty risk and various other financial instruments in the public domain. And today, another time, I would be covering willingness to do counterparty. Now, this is the new thing which is happening in the market. Now, willingness to do counterparty means you are unwilling to perform, means intentful. Now, let me give you a very simplistic example. What is the theoretical definition of credit risk or a credit event? The theoretical definition of a credit risk is when the credit risk happen because of mistakes. Like in 2007, Lehman Brothers took huge instruments, Bear Stearns, many banks, and when the market starts collapsing, they entered into the credit risk mode because the positions were so huge that mark to market on these positions were impossible to take into the books. So the only solution left is to wind up. Very simple. Now here the winding up, because you have taken a huge positions in the book. It's not about 2007, even 2007 till now. Like very recently is the Evergrande, which is the retail giant of China. Why did Evergrande collapsed? Evergrande collapsed because they took huge debt in the book, which is near about 300 billion US dollars. Now, when their inventory and they priced inventory at a very highest price in their books, sales not happened thanks to COVID. Debt crisis came, company entered into the credit risk board. Very simple. But here there is no unwillingness to do the credit risk. It happened because of the market conditions. Many hedge funds of the globe collapsed in 2019, 20, and 21 only because of this. Because they took huge positions before COVID, and immediately COVID came, they were not in a situation to handle these huge positions and they collapsed. But they were not unwilling to collapse. If you look at one recent example which had happened in India, Yes Bank issued 81 bonds, additional tier 1 bonds. Yes Bank entered into trouble. Government immediately enter and rescue Yes Bank. They appointed SBI to oversee the Yes Bank. Reserve Bank of India wrote it off. The 81 bonds of Yes Bank resulted huge losses to the investors. No debate happened in the media. No one came in the public space except me or a very less count of people. What had happened? Huge mess on the cards. Now this is what? This is regulatory unwillingness to perform. Because when Yes Bank issued the 81 bonds, it was not a defaulted entity. Henceforth, it was an obligation of Yes Bank to honor this transaction. If Yes Bank is not in a position to honor this transaction, then Reserve Bank of India should honor this transaction. Reserve Bank of India having no right to write it off. First of all, 81 bonds cannot be written off unless otherwise there is a trigger event. I made several videos even at that point of time, and 99% of the time people were not even aware about the trigger events. Moral of the story, regulators many times create credit risk. Like in case of Diwan Housing, Infrastructure Leasing and Financial Services, Yes Bank, and many regulators created the credit risk. Resulted huge losses to the retail investors of India. But due to the absence of knowledge, retail investors were not being able to counter this. End result, they simply lost it. Now I will give you one very specific example whereby the bank himself is not in a position to perform the transaction. I got a very beautiful example. You know that I love reading, and I got this book and I got a very good example. So I thought let's make a video on that. Now, JP Morgan Chase had a major derivative contract with SK Securities, one of the better local banks in South Korea. With the South Korean economy going into the mess, JP Morgan won a derivative bet to the tune rumored at that point of time, and as per the book, around $480 million. Although SK was not bankrupt, local bank was not bankrupt, it was economy who was going into the mess. It refused to perform owing to alleged precarious conditions. The case went into the court, and from there, as far as the existing evidence is concerned, it is into the time closet, which means going on, no result. The virtual bankruptcy of SK in 1997 and several of its conglomerate stemmed from a market risk that rekindled into counterparty risk and led to the reputational risk. Try and understand. Now, what is the moral of the story here? The moral of the story here is that Gone are the days when the world needs to go the credit risk as far as the universal definition is concerned. What is universal definition? The universal definition of the credit risk is because of willingness. Basically, you are because of the market conditions. God forbid, all of a sudden, people were not aware about that, a huge mess, and everything shattered. Banks hedged that using CDS, credit default swap, and all. But now, when you are willing to do the default, then what you do? What point I would like to convey? We need to make changes in the documentation, which is known as ISDA, which is known as fallout language, and other international documentation. The example which is there in the book is of derivative, but it could be of lending, it could be of repo transaction, it could be of repurchase obligation. We need to change the ISDA clauses. That's very important. If we really wish these incidents do not happen again, that's a more important thing. Another important thing which we need to learn as far as these incidents are concerned is that not only the documentation needs to be changed, but also at the time of the documentation, which is known as RDS, Risk Disclosure Statement, which to be signed by both the counterparties, just like in this case, JP Morgan Chase and SK Investment Bank, SK Securities. This needs to be added in risk disclosure statement also. Just think about that. The world is changing, the credit risk is changing, and we need to be update ourselves. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. You know my personal number +91 9899 242 978.